Loyalty has an expiration date. The problem is when you're the nice person, your loyalty lasts far longer to certain people than it should, because their loyalty to you has been expired. But you being the good person, you hang on to friendships and become forgiving far longer than you really should be. Loyalty has an expiration date.
I came to talk to you as living creatures who have found restrictions in the place that you once found nurture, and found yourself imprisoned by narrow-thinking people and narrow-thinking circumstances and narrow evolving predicaments. I came to tell you that you cannot feed in one realm and stay in that realm, that if you get enough on the inside of you, you will find a discomfort in staying in the dimension that you once lived in. And I came to prepare your hearts and minds. If you're not prepared to go through some bloody stuff and some stinky stuff and some dirty stuff, you don't want to keep feeding on this kind of word, because if you feed on this kind of word, it will open up your mind and open up your thinking and open up your ideas and open up your concepts until all of a sudden you are uncomfortable in what you were once comfortable in. You're thinking on another level, and it's causing a separation, because what used to be funny isn't funny anymore. What you used to enjoy, you don't enjoy anymore. And what you used to be satisfied with, you're not satisfied with anymore. And all of a sudden, you don't fit in the places you used to fit in, and you don't even understand it. And they think you're acting funny, and they think you're acting strange, and they say things like, you forgot where you came from. I didn't forget it, I just can't stay in it.
God don't like you to surround yourself with people, things, and situations that's going to stop you from reaching the level of success that God has destined you in your career to get to. That's why God gave us free will. God gave us a choice. He is revealing to you over and over and over again that you are talented, you are beautiful, you are special, you are an individual, where God has destined your life and your career to be and go. You cannot get there with all of the people that you showed up. Normally when you find yourself cutting off dead weight, because your boat is at its capacity. If the boat is at 1,500, and because you're loyal, you have your boat now at 4,000 pounds capacity. You are now on a boat that has blessings and opportunities, but it's overweight. It's past its capacity, which means that if God has destined your life to get from here to where it's destined to be, you're carrying dead weight. Your boat is either going to sink, or God has destined your life and your career to get to the ultimate blessings and the goals and where you're supposed to be. Because you got all this dead weight and you're operating over your capacity, it's going to take you that much longer to get there.
I've got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. I got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. You tell your old twin, you can stay in there if you want to. This might be okay for you, but I got to get out of here. Even if I have to fight my way out, I've got to get out there. If I've got to pull and push, I've got to get out. I've got too much vision to stay in this rut.
I want to talk to you today about connecting with the right people. Your destiny is too big to get there on your own. God has already arranged certain people to speak faith into you. He's placed in your path people to inspire you, to help you grow and accomplish your dreams. But the reason some people never reach their highest potential is because they never get away from the wrong people. You've got to connect with people that understand your destiny. People that appreciate your uniqueness. People that can call forth your seeds of greatness. Not people that are always pushing you down, telling you what you can't become, never giving you their approval, no matter how good you do. Life is too short to drag people along. If you will get the wrong people out of your life, then God will bring the right people into your life. And some of you, the only thing that's holding you back is your inner circle. The people that are closest to you, they're with you, but they're not really for you. You're constantly having to persuade them that you're okay and convince them to get on board. You're spending all your time and energy on someone that doesn't understand your destiny.
I'm going to change where I change. I'm going to transition where I transition. Ready or not, here I come. Like it or not, here I come. Celebrate me or not, here I come. The hardest thing to do, the hardest thing to deal with, the hardest thing to manage, the hardest thing to put up with is transition. The thing we hate the most is transition. We hate it because it takes us out of our element. It takes us out of our comfort zone. It takes us out of the place where we are secure and we've learned how to manage and control everything. You cannot control everything when you are in transition. It is what it is. It happens like it happens. I can't get my hair done and do it. I can't be pretty about it. I got to come out any way I can. I'm in transition. I can't meet with the board or get everybody to approve it. When my water breaks, get ready. Here I come. Touch it and say, move. Move. I'm growing out of this spot. Move. I'm coming into another dimension. Move. I see a door opening for me. Move. Born again, again, and again, and again. Because if you look back over your life, every so often, every so many days or situations or circumstances, you find yourself in a world that's too small and too tight and too limited, and you have to go through a birthing process from one dimension to get into the next dimension, and you are being born again and again. You get comfortable, and as soon as you settle all in and say, now I've got my life all nice and neat, and I finally got it just the way I want it, and oh, I've arrived, and I've reached my destination, and then you look around, and the world begins to lurch, and all of a sudden you have to recreate yourself and find yourself starting all over again. You were sure yourself over here, but now you're a student again over there. You knew how to do this, but now you're learning again how to do that, and you are born again.
Here's what leadership is. The challenge to be more than mediocre. The challenge to step up to a new level, a new dimension. And here's what this new dimension has. Opportunity and responsibility. But who wouldn't want the responsibility along with the opportunity if it builds an extraordinary life? You wouldn't want it any other way. The refinement of leadership. Make this list. Learn to be strong but not rude. Some people mistake rudeness for strength. Rudeness we don't need. Strength we do need. Here's the next one. Learn to be bold but not a bully. We need to boldly seize the day, boldly seize the opportunity, boldly seize the chance. But we don't need bullies. We don't need anybody to push anybody around. There's a whole new level of leadership. A new method of leadership. Here's what it is. Leadership by invitation. Not leadership by threat, not leadership by intimidation. That now shows the weakness of the leader. That now shows ego at work instead of skills. But it's leadership by invitation. Invite somebody to a better way of doing things. Here's what else it's called. Leadership by inspiration. Inspiring somebody to make the necessary changes to move up or to get the job done. As leaders, we inspire. As leaders, we entice. As leaders, we invite, entice, inspire. Not threaten. New kind of leadership. Be bold but not a bully. Next, be kind but not weak. Some people mistake weakness for kindness. And it's a great mistake. Kindness isn't weak. Kindness is a certain unusual strength. But don't say, I must be weak in order to be kind. The answer is no. Sometimes you have to be unusually strong to be kind. Somebody coined the expression, tough love. Love that really tells the truth and levels, sometimes with a broken heart, but whatever has to be said, has to be said. Kind but not weak. Here's another one that's excellent. Be thoughtful but not lazy. We need to give thought, but we also need to take action.
As you grow up and get older, you start realizing what actually makes sense for your life and what don't make sense for your life. You may revisit the things that don't make sense for your life occasionally sometimes. But that's when you decide that you want to have that. For the most part, because I grew up with my brothers and sisters, doesn't mean that we're actually going to walk in the same path. Because I have my friends that I grew up with doesn't mean that we're going to move and walk and have our lives, family, mind state, career choice, the way we think, the way we move, moving in the same direction. Some of y'all are loyal, have this power struggle with this concept called loyalty. You're so loyal. You're watching your career and your life and your surroundings crash and burn because you're being loyal to those friends. They're insecure and threatened by you, and anything that you do and any move that you make, they ask you questions like, yo, what you got going on? And they seem to be curious. But as soon as you share that information deep down inside, they are angry, mad, jealous, and envious about anything that you have going. But you're so loyal. You're so emotionally tied to these people that you found yourself being committed to because you grew up, because you know, because they have the same blood as you. You hold on to things that don't make sense in the new season of your life. But because you actually know them, because you're comfortable, because you're used to it, because they may know all of your business and your secrets, you hold on to dead weight. People are in your life for a reason. Other people are there for a season. But it's important to recognize when people's seasons are over.
I've found some people you have to love from a distance. They're still my friends, but they're not in my inner circle. Don't cast your pearl among swine. You could say your pearl is your gift, your personality. It's who you are. When you get around true friends, people that really believe in you, they won't be jealous of your gifts. They won't try to talk you out of your dreams. It'll be just the opposite. They'll help you develop your pearl, polish your pearl, enhance your pearl, grow your pearl. In other words, they'll give you ideas. They'll help push you further along. You shouldn't stay around people that don't value your gifts and appreciate what you have to offer. That's casting your pearl among swine.
You need to dream without just being a dreamer. Head in the clouds, yes, dreaming lofty dreams, but feet on the ground. Here's 2 or 3 more. These are excellent. Be humble but not timid. Some people mistake timidity for humility. Humility is a virtue. Timidity is an illness. It can be cured. It can be managed. And if you are timid, you got to work on it. I'm telling you, it's a weakness. It's not a virtue. But you must turn your timidity into strength and keep working on it and keep working on it until finally you have driven it into such a small corner that it does not devastate your life anymore. But humility is a virtue. Expands your ability to understand the vastness of it all and how small we are in relation to everything. Humility that causes you to get on your knees and talk to a child without any fear how you'll look. Humility to understand, yes, humans are unique, but in the vast space of it all, we're all pretty small. Yes, we know, but what we don't know is so much greater than what we do. Here's a couple of more. Be proud without being arrogant. There's something to be said for team pride, community pride, company pride, personal pride. But don't cross the line to where your being proud now becomes arrogance. Pride we need, arrogance we need. Arrogance is usually the childish attempt to make up for lack of self-worth. The childish attempt to make up for lack of self-worth has a tendency to create arrogance. And you know the worst kind of arrogance? Arrogance from ignorance. That's the worst kind. If a guy's smart and arrogant, we can tolerate that. But if a guy's dumb and arrogant, that's hard to take. So now, all leaders must learn the basic laws so they can use them as illustrations as well as use them for productivity. Here's the first of the basic laws. Whatever you sow, you reap. Now here's another way to put it on the positive side. In order to reap, you must sow. Reaping is reserved for those who sow, who plant. To deserve the harvest, you must plant. seed. Take care of it in the summer. Carefully harvest it, and then do wise things with the harvest. Now, here's the rest of the law of sowing and reaping. If you sow good, you reap good. If you sow bad, you reap bad. You can't sow bad and hope for good. You can't plant weeds and hope for flowers. It works both positive and negative. Now, here's something else about the law of sowing and reaping. You don't reap what you sow. You reap much more than what you sow. Now, here's what's important to understand on that. It works both positive and negative. The old prophet said, if you sow to the wind, you don't reap a wind. You reap a whirlwind. You got to be careful sowing to the wind. It doesn't come back as a wind. It comes back as a whirlwind. That's on the negative side. But now it also works on the positive side. If you plant a cup of corn, how much do you get back? A cup? No, a bushel for the cup. You get back much more than what you plant. It's the reason for planting, for the increase. Positive, negative. Now here's the next key to the law of sowing and reaping. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. The farmer plants the crop in the spring, takes care of it all summer, is an honorable man, loves his family, is a decent citizen. But the day before he sends the combines into the field, a hailstorm comes along and beats his crop into the ground, and it's gone, it's lost. So this time it didn't work. So now what must the farmer do? He's got to decide whether to do it again or not. Should we take another chance in the next spring? We would advise him to do so, even though he lost everything in the last harvest. And it didn't work. You didn't reap what you sowed. But here's the law of averages. Here's the odds. More often than not, you reap what you sow. More often than not, you'll have a harvest if you plant in the spring. There's no guarantee, but more often than not. And guess what more often than not is? Pretty good odds. It's better than Las Vegas. Incredible. Next, one of the most important laws to learn is the law of averages. If you do something often enough, you'll get a ratio of results. Once you understand that, the world is yours. Learning to employ people in the unique thing called the law of averages is stunning in its result in terms of fortune, future. In baseball, we call it batting average. Swing 10 times, get a hit. Swing 10 times, get a hit. Nobody bats 9 out of 10. Some of these guys are getting $5, $6, $7 million a year, batting 2, 3 out of 10. So you don't have to be perfect here. All you have to do is understand the law of averages. Now, even if you're only getting 1 out of 10, you can now start to compete. If you've been here a long time, you can get 9 out of 10. I just joined, I can only get 1 out of 10. I'm telling you, if we have a contest, I will beat you. Say, well, you just started. How could you beat me? It's very simple. While you talk to 10 and get 9, I will talk to 100 and get 10. I win. Isn't that clever? Here's what I do if I'm new. I make up in numbers what I lack in skill. Once you understand the law of averages, I'm telling you, it's so exciting to work with the law of averages. Here's the next important law, called the law of faith. Faith is the ability to see things that don't yet exist. Faith, though, can turn difficulty into reality, positive reality. Here's what faith is for. Number 1, faith is the ability to see it as it is. Faith doesn't mind seeing it as it is because faith is a miracle worker. Faith does not ignore the negative. Faith uses the negative because if there was no negative, there'd be no need for faith. If everything's okay, what would you need faith for? You need faith because it isn't okay. Now, what isn't okay? Who knows? The situation that isn't okay isn't okay. So here's what faith does. Number 1, faith does not ignore the negative because faith now stands as the miracle worker if you let it work. So faith sees it as it is. If it's ugly, it's ugly. If it isn't working, it isn't working. If it's a mess, it's a mess. It doesn't hurt to call a mess a mess. You don't need to fancy it up here. If it's broke, it's broke. If it's miserable, it's miserable. Faith doesn't mind admitting that. Faith doesn't mind seeing that. Here's why. Number 1, you can see it as it is. That's the beginning of faith, seeing it as it is. Now, here's the second step of faith. See it better than it is. Couldn't you see beyond the mess? The mess is for today. Couldn't you look into tomorrow? The answer is yes, I guess I could look into tomorrow. Humans have this incredible ability to look into tomorrow, to look into next week. Dream the dreams, make the plans, visualize, use your imagination, see it better than it is. Now here's the third step that turns faith into reality. Make it better than it is. Faith now must be invested in the muscle. But if you...
Now, before I start anything I got to say, no matter what you hear me say, no matter what piece of information I lay out in front of you, please tag that with "cause of God." I've accomplished so much, but it's cause of God, though. My life is covered with grace and favor. You know, Bishop Jakes told me one time, when you got favor on your life, no matter what you're thrown into, you're going to always rise to the top. All of this that I have is really because of the grace of God. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If you could get a couple of things from me, if you could gather this piece of information. Now, I want you to get this now. Imagination is everything. It's the preview to life's coming attractions. Your real life, the one God really got for you, is in your imagination. It is not in your current situation or your current paycheck. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. All that means is, in the beginning, you just hope something pop off. I was hoping I would get on TV. When I wrote it on the paper, it wasn't factual. It was just hoping. You just got to start with the hope. Then what happened is, through grace and favor, he give you a couple of them things you hope for, and then you're supposed to start believing then. Your imagination is actually God showing you a preview of a coming attraction that he has for you. The moment you don't believe in your imagination, you negate what he got for you. God don't give you what you want. He give you what you believe.
Believe you can get what you want like a child. Make plans like an adult and believe in them like a child. Just try it.
Your problem is you keep telling your imagination to the wrong people. How many times, man, have you had a tremendous idea and you went and told it to your loved ones and your so-called friends, and they shot it down? You let them talk you out of what God got for you. Your real life is in your imagination. I'm just a real dude. I don't even have the education you all have. I flunked out of school. What I'm sharing with you is stuff that everybody can apply today. See, if you think you're too old to make it, let me give you a prime example. Colonel Sanders has been frying chicken his whole life. Colonel Sanders didn't get a franchise till he was in his 60s. As long as God waking you up in the morning, that's the sign that he ain't through with you.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what you desire. I don't know what you've been envisioning in your spirit. That if you believe God, all things are possible unto you. A lot of people, their problem is they don't want nothing. Have decided that your life is over and that if it was going to happen, it would have happened by now. But you don't want anything. When you want something, you got to go for yourself, even if the person next to you does not.
Man, you know what I'm asking God for right now? And I'm 60. Ain't nothing wrong with wanting something. God got a big life for you. The smallest scripture I ever read changed my life. You have not, because you ask not. Do you know the difference that could make in your life?
Asking starts a unique process. I don't even know how it works. All I know is it works.
He says, when you pray, you want to pray for what you desire.
When the last time you really asked him for something? Or do you keep making requests that's inside the confines of your paycheck? Didn't I just tell you God ain't in your paycheck? Didn't I just tell you he ain't in your job title?
Don't ask God to help you function better in your dysfunction. Ask him for your dreams. Ask for things that even seem impossible. That's not just being hopeful, just being positive. That's your faith being released. Take the limits off of God.
I do not live my life in the confines of what anybody says to me. So now, if you have not, because you ask not, do you understand that if you up your ask, he has to up his give? You can start this today and change your whole game. Because you're going to need grace and favor anyway. But you got to ask for something. Quit asking God for little bitty stuff. Lord, help me make my rent. You up your ass, he up his gear. This ain't a magic trick, man. I have asked God for some tremendous stuff. Everything he has given to me is on the way. I have no doubt about it.
Believe you receive it. I got it right now. I receive it in my spirit. I'm walking in it. I'm laying out plans. I'm picking out stuff, getting ready. I received it in my spirit, and I'll have it in my life. Believe this will change your life. Somebody just shout, I believe. Believe you received it, and you should have it. If you have to force yourself to believe it, then maybe you should realize that just because you desire it doesn't mean you should have it. Think of the things that you forced your way into, and then you had to cry your way out of. You got what you wanted, but you didn't want what you got. He is saying you receive it in your spirit before you receive it in your life.
What I found is God's plan has always been better than my plan. One day, when you see what God was up to, you'll thank Him for not answering those prayers. If it's supposed to be yours, you can rest assured nobody else will get it.
You cannot have prosperity in the natural until you receive it in your spirit. The reason some of you are broke is that you have a broke spirit. It comes in your spirit before it comes in your life.
You got to have a tremendous work ethic to be successful in here. It's going to be a lot of trying times. So you have to have a tremendous work ethic. Faith without works is dead.
Lord, I thank you for passion. I thank you, Lord, that I never went through anything that got so bad that it took my fight away. I cried, but I didn't quit.
Don't seek the blessing, seek God. Keep Him first place, and the blessing will seek you.
Are there any God seekers left? I see the money seekers, but are there any God seekers left? And say, all I want is you.